Those of you who follow the channel will know over the past couple of weeks I've been completing a goal, a challenge if you like, that's been hanging over me for about 3 years now. I won't go into all the reasons, but it was the third attempt on this thing. And if you want to look back at over the last dozen or so videos, it documents the whole journey. But most importantly, on this journey, I learned a lot about myself, but I also learned a lot about my sobriety, which has strengthened my sobriety and also given me a slightly different outlook on life, giving me a peace and a freedom and a feeling of well-being that I can't really describe, but I can try and explain to you so that you can relate and perhaps use what I learned to help you in your struggles, whatever they may be, whether it be with sobriety or just life in general, if you like. First of all, if my videos have been any help to you in the past, please click on the link in the description, find out how you can help support the channel. Be greatly appreciated, and to those who've done that, thank you so much. So this journey has been like a metaphor, as I've said before, for my sobriety journey, if you like. In that there's been steps backwards, and I won't ever say failure, but there's been steps backwards, and the theme that's run through the whole thing, I've never given up on this goal, on this dream, if you like, you know. And I didn't realise until I've done this and completed it, how much this thing was actually hanging over me. And just like my sobriety, I learnt from my past attempts, my past steps backwards, if you like. I researched and learnt as much as I could of how I could improve the situation, how I could move it forward, how I could get stronger and make it a better effort the next time that I tried. Just kept getting back up off the floor and trying. And it's been the same with my sobriety for the past 35 years. It's always been that, you know, that step backwards, taking a breath, learning, getting over what I felt at the time was shame and disappointment and regret and all of these things, but using it as a tool, not giving up, learning from it and keeping moving forward. The thing is that I will share, first of all, however hard the goal is, or whatever age you are, age is nothing with this, with any goal. You know, it doesn't matter. You're never too late to change your life. You're never too late to achieve something monumental. You have no idea what you are capable of, what your mind is capable of, what your body is capable of. Until you attempt these things, you will never know. You know, getting sober is stepping out of your comfort zone. It is uncomfortable because it involves change. It involves feelings of great discomfort sometimes, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, facing emotions that you've not felt for years, you've numbed and hidden from, dealing with shit from your past that you've tried to bury with drugs and alcohol. You know, so many things. I won't go into it all here. But you're never too old to change that. You know, really, when I found some lasting sobriety, I was 56 years old. And there's been battles since then. If you follow the channel, you've seen those battles because I put them on here. And I've been totally honest and open about them. And it's only this last 16 months now that I've found or beginning to find a strength and a peace in my sobriety that I've never felt before. And the reasons for that, I'll mention a couple now, but if you look back at my previous videos, you'll see what's happened over the last year. So what did I learn on this trip? That was the first thing, never to give up, and you're never too old for something that is grueling physically and mentally. Because believe you me, this was grueling physically and mentally. You know, there's no doubt about it. We had to cover 300 kilometers on rough terrain over, well, it was 13 days, but only 11 of those days were walking, 2 of those days were traveling. And staying in hostels which were... you know, shared hostels in dormitory beds, cheap as we could do it. I have a small pension, you know. Again, I could have used that excuse not to complete this goal, but I put every penny aside that I could We did it as cheaply as we could. We ate, I'm not suggesting that you do this if you do these goals, but, we just ate as cheaply rubbish, really, from supermarkets, just to get through it, just to complete it, just to find peace at the end of it. And my God, we did do that. The first thing I woke up to is I couldn't do this on my own. Just like sobriety, I couldn't do it on my own. So I took someone with me, John, and I owe him a debt of gratitude. We helped each other. The thing is, he's 16 years sober. He's a peer of mine. I could talk to him at any point when I was struggling. And that's truly important with your sobriety. You need a sounding board. You need someone who understands how your mind works, particularly if you're struggling with addiction and you're in a situation of extreme stress like that and you're putting yourself through a lot. That was amazing to have him there. So that's the first thing I would say. That's one lesson I'd learned, Secondly, life, and this is a really important one that I learned on this trip. It doesn't matter how much planning you do in life, because the thing is with us addicts, we like everything to be easy, don't we? We like it if we planned it. We don't like anything that goes wrong or puts a curveball in front of us. It really does put a spanner in the works of our mind, and we spiral down very quickly from it. The thing I realised is it doesn't matter how much planning you put into anything in life. Life will always throw you a curveball. And guess what? Life isn't fair. It's a fact. I used to think that life was conspiring against me. People were conspiring against me. Situations were conspiring against me. And I used that as an excuse to drink and take drugs, for much of my addictions, for much of my years of addiction, I should say. But life isn't conspiring against you, or people aren't, all right, people can be shitty sometimes and life can be shitty sometimes, but that's life. It is what it is. The important lesson I learned from this trip was acceptance and to do best in the moment. When life throws you a curveball, whatever it may be, and there's millions of curveballs it can throw you. Some are horrible, some aren't as bad, some we make worse in our heads. But when life throws you a curveball, you've got to learn acceptance. And then you've got to just do your best to deal with the situation in that current moment. If you can do that, if you can deal with the situation in that moment to the best of your ability, that's all you can do. You have no control. We talk about letting go of control. It's the ultimate letting go of control. Life isn't fair. Get used to that. Get used to accepting that. Get used to dealing with situations as they arise instead of stressing about them and thinking the whole world's against you, because it isn't. It is what it is. It's life. I learned that on this journey. I also learned the importance, listened to a podcast, and if you get a chance, listen to it. It's on the Diary of a CEO. A guy called Professor Stephen Turner, who's an expert on the mind, the mindset. And it's well worth listening to. He trains elite athletes. He can't even give the names of a lot of them he's treated for privacy reasons, but he turns them into winners, basically. And he has an explanation for it's not complex in as much, but it's long to explain. But I'll give you a basic rundown. There's 3 sections to the brain he describes. One is the chimp brain. This is the one that's our enemy, the chimp brain. This is the impulsive one, the one that we have no control of, the one that is based on all the beliefs we have, everything that's happened to us. It reacts, it doesn't think, it just goes, and it causes us all sorts of problems. The other one is the human brain, which is the one we need to engage more of in a sense, the one that's more careful, and the one that has some radical thought in it, some rationalization in it. And the third one, which I use quite a bit, and we should get used to using more, is the computer brain. The computer brain engages when we're in what's called the flow state. When we're in the moment, when we're absolutely in the moment, and our bodies and the task that we're doing and how we're operating is in a flow. It's like when, say, you drive to work and suddenly you're at work and you don't realise how you've got there because you're in the flow state. It's a computer. You've done it so many times, it's driving you. Your body knows and your mind knows what to do. It's the same with athletics, with sport, with lots of mindsets. engage the computer brain, you have to be in the moment. You have to let go, ignore the chimp brain yapping in your ear and giving you all the reasons why you shouldn't do things and why it'll hurt you and why, you know, it'll cause you problems, this, that and the other, all the things it'll do to try and talk you out of it. And listen to the human brain, engage the computer brain and go into that flow state. That's what I learned on this Camino. To be in that flow state, just to concentrate on one step in front of another. If we can do that more and more in life, you know, I'm not saying be reckless in this, you know, avoid danger, obviously, but to be in that flow state where we're just dealing with stuff as it arises in the moment is the ultimate for anyone, not just anyone dealing with addiction, but anyone dealing with anything in life. If you can engage that brain, it is so important. It's been a long journey. It taught me so many things. There were times during the journey when I felt very despondent, when I felt very emotional. But again, one thing this journey taught me was to let those emotions come to the surface and express them. I cried many tears on this journey, many tears for lots of reasons. Some to do with my family, because there was some emotional stuff with the stones I was carrying for my granddaughters and my wife. I wanted to lay on the marker stone at the very end in Fistera, which I did. There was lots of tears during it. I had some amazing news about someone in my family who I love very much, about their health, which was the best news we could have hoped for. All these things, you know, happened, but I didn't bottle anything up. I just let it go, let all those emotions out. And because of that, I felt freer. I felt alive, and I felt alive during this journey. You know, not everyone can step away from life and just be in that moment. But I would recommend everyone doing something that allows them to do what I did. It might not be the Camino de Santiago. It might be another challenge. It might be another goal, but to allow you to step out of your routine. And it's great to have a goal. Small and large goals make up our existence. To have that purpose, to have something to aim for is so important in sobriety, in strengthening your sobriety. But what it has given me, this journey, above all else, is a freedom. I didn't realise how much this thing was hanging over me, this uncompleted goal. You know, although it wasn't in the forefront of my mind all the time, you know, there's an old saying, is there, never give up on something that you think about every single day. And subconsciously, I was thinking about it every single day. I have a feeling of freedom, of lightness, of peace, but overall of strength, because I know myself a lot better. And it sounds a bit corny, that, but it's fact. I know myself a lot better than I did before I went on this journey and completed it. So I hope that's been of some use for you. I just wanted to sort of express how I feel. But, you know, the next videos will be back on the topics which I normally talk about, which is addiction. There's a video just come out on CG Kids channel. He has a massive following, about nearly 400,000 subscribers in America, you know, all over the world. He's had a break for 3 years. He did an interview with me on Tramadol 3 years ago, and he's literally just come back online again and released this video. So if you're interested in that, have a look at his channel, CG Kid. As I say, please subscribe. Please have a look at it and support the channel in the description box. Normal service is now resumed. Carpe diem, my friend. Never give up on your hopes, dreams and goals, because you can achieve anything. Doesn't matter what age you are, what situation you're in, you can get out of it and you can become the person you've always wanted to be. Much love to you all. Bye-bye.